Natalie from 90 Day Fiance just admitted on the tell-all that she was the one that left Mike and that Mike still is paying all of her bills, you guys. You will not believe it. Discovery Plus released some sneak peek of some sort of the new 90 Day Fiance Part 1 of the tell-all, and in it was unbelievable. The first thing we have to talk about is Mike and Natalie, because Natalie did admit that, number one, she has left him and gone to Florida. Now, off her social media, we could all kind of assume that. We knew she was in Florida, but she confirmed she is now living there. But the million-dollar question literally was, how is she footing the bill? Who is funding this whole Florida thing? And she confirmed that Mike is the one paying all of her bills. You won't believe it. So she just came out and admitted out of the blue, yeah, I'm living in Florida. Sean, the host of Tell-All, who I kind of can't stand, just kidding. But she did, she asked her, where are you? What is going on? And she said, I left him. I went to Seattle with Juliana, and then somehow she magically ended up in Florida. Juliana's name wasn't really mentioned. I kind of speculated that Juliana might have been kind of creeping on her, and I actually might be right about that, because she never did actually ever mention Juliana any further, but she just said she's now living in Tampa, Florida, doing her own thing, and that was basically it. And, Mike, they kind of asked Mike, are you going to go there? And Mike was like, we're done. This is over. It's such a weird thing, you guys. So basically, either Natalie or Mike will be like, okay, I'm doing my own thing, and then all of a sudden Mike would be like, but maybe we'll get back together. Like, it's this weird back and forth thing. So at one hand, they're like done, but then they're also like, keeping the options open. So they're definitely like 99% done, but there's like a smidge of hope with Mike, kind of, and it's almost like Natalie doesn't want to kind of take the blame for the divorce. She's kind of pretending that she's keeping the doors open too. So it's really weird. But anyway, Natalie did say she's living in Florida. Mike, obviously, he's not going to go to Florida too. Her reasoning for finally just packing her bags and leaving Mike was not because he was cheating. It's not because he was rude. It's not because this, that, or the other. Her reasoning was this. He's very busy. He's working in Seattle. He works and works and works. He has a 2-hour commute there and a 2-hour commute back home. And by the time he was coming back home to see me, he was exhausted. He just wanted to sleep. He didn't want to talk. And she goes, I had enough and I finally left him. Now, to me and to literally every single one of the 90 Day Fiance castmates at that tell-all, they all just said, are you kidding me? That is your reasoning? It's one thing if she said he's working a lot, but if I was Natalie and I loved Mike, I would just say, listen, you're working a ton. Maybe I can help, or maybe I can do this, or maybe I can do that, or something to compromise. But if you're just going to say you're working too much, it's not like the guy's doing, not like sitting on it, not doing anything. He's going to a job, he's making money, he's providing for Natalie, and for her to come out and say you are working too much and you are too tired, I'm going to divorce you, I can see why she would say, I want to be around you, but for her to say I'm going to leave you because of that, really, that, to me, is like, oh, okay, now Natalie's true colors, at least to me, are starting to show. So that was her reasoning for leaving him. Now keep in mind, she has not filed for divorce. I don't know if she legally even can. I don't know what that would even mean with her leaving. Julia and, Brandon and Joy did ask her, so does that mean you're going to go back to Ukraine? And of course, Natalie kind of said this, she said that, she goes, I don't, she wouldn't give her a straight answer. So fine, Julia just said, okay, so no. And then, Natalie kind of said, well, probably, but it's like, well, okay, no. It's a simple yes or no question. Which one is it? And if you're going to say probably, that probably means you're going to stay here in America, which that also means you probably just used Mike to get a green card to come to America. So kind of felt bad for Mike. I'm not a huge fan of him either. I think he's kind of weird and bizarre and kind of just like a spoiled mama's boy, kind of, but this whole situation does not make Natalie look good. So that is the whole, topic of conversation with her leaving him and going to Florida. She never said why Florida. She never said how she ended up in Florida, but she is in Florida and she is living in Tampa. But the million-dollar question for me was who is footing the bill, and Natalie she indirectly confirmed that it is Mike. And that is not clickbait. That is like legitimate. Mike came on and said it because Julia, once again, Julia's mouth is real big. She kept asking question after question, and she was kind of being a little bit borderline rude, but she did say, Natalie, who is paying for your bills? And Natalie just immediately closed her mouth. She had nothing to say. She sat there, but she had that stupid little smirk on her face, and she kind of glanced over at Mike, and Mike just said, are you going to answer it, or should I? And she wouldn't answer, and Mike finally said, look, she has a bank card, so I guess a credit card of some sort of mine. I'm paying the bill, and that is how she is paying all of her bills. So, it's like, are you kidding me? Now, he didn't specify and say I'm paying the rent and her food and everything else that she's doing, but it's like he did say I'm paying her bills, so I would assume that would mean, you know, A to Z, all of her bills. However, he did say something that was kind of interesting. He did say that, you know, the next day, he goes, after today, I'm canceling the card and this is done. So, I don't know. It's like, okay, she's been using this card for so long. Is she just going to magically get to make a bank account? Maybe, I don't know if she already has a bank account. It doesn't sound like she has any money or anything like that. So it's like, how is she going to start paying for everything? That seemed kind of weird and kind of fake. But I really do think Natalie is such a user that she's okay with not talking to Mike, not associating with him, but it's like also spending his money. And for Mike to do that, if this is real and true, Mike is a lot nicer of a guy than I think he really gets credit for on the show. So assuming that everything we saw with the whole credit card thing and Mike, you know, funding her entire life is true, I'm curious what you guys think, and I'd love to hear you guys in the comments below. Do you think that Mike was kind of more of the saving grace in this relationship and that Natalie's also kind of just, you know, out of her mind? Because it's like, if he's paying all of her bills, she won't talk to him, she clearly left him. To me, it's like, what is the deal? Like, what is really truly going on? Now, if you're wondering, Natalie and Mike both came out and said that they are not seeing anyone else, which we know is not true, because someone did come out, you know, weeks ago and said, I was talking to Mike in a romantic fashion for sure. He didn't, you know, say anything about her. And then Natalie, you know, said, I'm not dating anyone either, but that's like, well, that's not true either, because she's filming for 90 Day Fiance Single Life, and Jovi and Yara went out with her in New Orleans, and she was with a man. So it's like, really? Jovi did call her out, and because Sean asked Natalie, he goes, hey, are you talking to anyone? Are you dating anyone? And she goes, no, not at all. And then Jovi goes, well, what about that guy you were with when we went to dinner in New Orleans? And then, of course, Natalie had this whole long excuse of this and that, and oh my God, and it's just like, are you kidding me? So I don't believe a word out of her mouth. I kind of don't believe a whole lot out of Mike's mouth either, but I think Mike, I believe, is telling more of the truth. And Natalie, to me, it's like, for the love of God, just get off this show. You came here for a green card, it appears. I could be wrong, but it's like, I just think if she wanted to make it work with Mike and she truly loved him deep down, she would just find a way to make it work. But that is just me. Don't get mad at me. That's just my kind of thought and opinion on that situation. So we got to see Mike and Natalie, pretty crazy stuff. We got to see Brandon and Julia. And if you think about it, let's just sit here and real quick think about Brandon and Julia. Let's real calmly think. Not one thing. This entire season, start to finish, happened with Brandon and Julia. Not one thing. So the tell-all said, what are they going to talk about? So they talked about how she gets jealous and how they moved away from the farm and how apparently Brandon's dad, Ron, who, I know the mom and dad get a lot of hate and a lot of crap. I don't know them personally, but the mom and the dad especially, they seem nicer-ish, kind of clingy, I know, and kind of rude, and they were definitely kind of working Julia, but to their defense, she wasn't paying for food and rent, and so I can kind of weigh everything and see where they're both coming from. Either way, it sounds like Brandon's dad has some really bad health issue, and he's dealing with it, and he's getting treatment, and that's all they said. They didn't say what it was. They didn't say what is going on. They didn't want to specify. Sean was kind of trying to pick and poke, but they just kept saying that he has a health issue, and they wouldn't really clarify what that means. So like I was saying, you know, not the biggest fan of the family, but obviously we don't wish anything bad on anyone, on any of these shows, or anyone in general. So when I heard that, that was really kind of sad, because then they ended up flashing back over to Brandon, and he was like in tears. Like he was legitimately crying, and I'm kind of getting all emotional. I don't know. I know Brandon has this bad rap being a mama's boy, and he's entitled and spoiled, but I just think, I don't know, he put the whole family together. It was kind of sweet, kind of cute. His dad is going through something with his health. I have no idea why. I can only sit here and guess, and I'm not going to. A little too personal, but it was just really sad to see. So that was one big thing with them. For the most part, they're still living in their apartment. Julia wants to be having kids, but they're not. That was about it. It was very, 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 very boring for Brandon and Julia. So, yeah, kind of boring, not really interesting with them. We also got to see real quick Yara and Jovi. Not a whole lot. The only thing they're really talking about was the fact that, you know, Jovi and Yara were not with Natalie. Natalie was with a man who Natalie claims was her friend, but, you know, they were kind of saying it was more than a friend. That was basically it with those two. But the main other couple besides Mike and Natalie and Brandon and Joy that we got to see that I found interesting was Tiffany and Ronald. Now, yeah, my timelines are kind of mixed and matched. Here's basically the deal. A couple weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago. Maybe a month ago. I should definitely look back on this, but about a month and a half ago, Tiffany and Ronald both came on social media and said, we are getting a divorce. This is over. It's done. We're not going to be together anymore. But on the tell-all, which I believe was filmed around this time, believe it or not, because it might have just been just a hair before that. Because about 2 months ago or so, Tiffany went on social media and said that she's going to get this weight loss procedure, the same one that Angela got. And on the tell-all, she did say that in like 2 days, she's going to get the procedure. So I'm trying to kind of piece together the times and the dates and everything. But I think they're around the same time. Either way, on the tell-all, Tiffany and Ronald, they aren't happy together. They're still fighting. They're not doing well. But the topic of conversation, it wasn't like we're 100% done. It was like it's still up in the air. And if anything, it was like we might kind of work it out. We got to see Ronald's mom talk, and Ronald's mom got emotional, started bursting into tears. She was like, you know, Tiffany, you're my daughter. You're a part of our family. I love you. I would be devastated if you left. And Tiffany's mom, kind of, somewhat, sort of, she was definitely pushing more of the blame on Ronald, I will say, when it came to the root cause of their fighting. But even Tiffany's mom, not a fan of Ronald, but she was even still somewhat sort of kind of supportive. And I'm going to sound like a jerk, but I do have to say I find it very interesting. At the beginning of this season, we got to see Tiffany's dad come on. He was going to sponsor Ronald, this whole visa thing. And Tiffany said on social media, he backed out. He had this tax issue. He's not going to do it. To me, it was kind of interesting drama, but it's like he has not been back on 90 Day Fiance since. He hasn't been mentioned. He's been real quiet, and he was not on this tell-all either, which to me is kind of like, what is going on? Kind of interesting, kind of bizarre, kind of just sad and weird, and I don't even know, embarrassing, I guess you could say. But either way, yes. So Tiffany, Ronald, their relationship is up in the air. They wouldn't really give a straightforward answer. It was like 1 second she was like, I'm over it, I'm done, I'm moving on. But the next second she was kind of like, you know, I love him. So I don't really know what is going on. If you didn't already know, there was a sneak peek that, you know, Ronald was blaming Tiffany for potentially cheating on him with a cameraman for 90 Day Fiance. But when we dug into it more, Tiffany she had nothing to say. Could she be cheating? Yeah, but it's probably unlikely. She was just saying, you know what, this is a camera guy. I thought he was a nice guy. Was I cheating? No. Ronald was just being jealous. That was the extent of it. And she really didn't have anything else to say. She was just saying, you know, he was very jealous. And that was it. So that whole, you know, spoiler, this and that, and the teaser and everything, it was literally nothing. Nothing important whatsoever. And last but not least, the person we got to see was Angela and Michael. And I'm going to keep them very quick. And if you can't tell by my expression, I'm just so sick and tired of her and him and his aunt and the rest of the world. Angela went on there. She lost a ton of weight. She looks amazing. She looks incredible. She looks great. You know, I have to give her credit for that. She looks really good. And I think Angela deep down is actually a pretty nice, normal person. But when she gets a camera in her face, she just goes insane. So she was chiming in a lot of these couples, and it was really annoying, and it made no sense. And then when the cameras went on her for the her and Michael section, she was screaming, and she was running around, and she was going off on Michael, and going off on Michael's aunt, and doing this, and doing that, and finally she ended up just standing up, and I have no idea why, but she took her shirt and did this and did that, and, you know, showed some stuff, and I don't know who, when, where, or why she felt the need to do that. And that was right around the point that I took my phone when I was watching the show, and I skipped and just got to when she was done talking, because I can't stand to watch it. She's mad about the baby thing. She's mad about her weight loss. She's mad that Michael wasn't there for her. She's mad at this and that, and mad about everything, mad at the whole world. It's like, I can't stand watching her. She's incredibly annoying to me. I don't know what the future holds for Angela and Michael on 90 Day Fiance, but I'm pretty confident they're gonna for sure still be on. She's like one of the main people on this show, which is so crazy. It's like, who still watches her? She's told me off. She's told everyone off before, me included. So it's like, I'm not the biggest fan. She's fine. She goes by the beat of her own drum, which is great for her, but it's like, you are just kind of rude. And I know, you know what, that probably doesn't sound nice on my part to say, but she tells everyone off, and for her to be so just out there, and the stuff she'll do and say, she is kind of funny, and the drama is kind of like, she's the wild card. You never know what she's gonna do, like with the whole, you know, shirt thing, but it is just like, what is going on with you? I don't even know, like, it was just so crazy to see. Couldn't believe it. To me, it just seems fake for Angela. I think Angela wants to do all the crap she can do to stay on the show, and just seems kind of fake. And there was talk that the doctor, you know, that looked like Michael, she might have had a little bit of a flang going on, but I don't think so. For all we know, the guy could be like married, probably. Like literally, the guy could be seriously like married and happy with like a family. For all we don't know anything about this guy. We don't know we don't know if he's dating. We don't know if he's married. So everyone's making these comments that what if Angela's dating the guy? But it's like nothing against Angela, but he is for sure significantly younger. And I hate to use this, but he's a very good-looking guy. And Angela, she looks great too, but it's like, I don't really see them, you know, going together as a couple. So either way, you guys, 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After, Tell All Part 1. We got to see those couples. But for the most part, Jovi and Yara, and Kalani and Asuelu, and Elizabeth and Andre. And I think that was basically it. Those 3 couples, we did not hear a word from. They're going to be on the part 2 of the tell-all. And if you are wondering, yes, we did actually get to see Mike's mom, Trish, come on. She really, real quickly told off Natalie. Real quick, got to the point, called her a scammer, called her this. She just can't go out of the green card. And I know you guys are probably going to say I'm crazy, but I kind of honestly agree with, you know, Mike's mom, Trish, because it's like, everything kind of adds up for Natalie to be like, she kind of just used him to get a green card to come to America, and that was it. But you guys, as always, comment below to let me know what you guys think. Well, y'all, thank you all so much for watching. Please, please, please hit that like button, hit the comments below, and y'all better stay tuned for many more videos.